Hi, Steve Patton here with HCM Property Management. From time to time, you may have a tenant at the end of their lease say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to make my last month's rent payment. Just use my security deposit instead. Okay? That is not a great outcome. So besides being just annoying, that's a direct violation in the lease document. At least with ours it is. It clearly stipulates in the lease document that you are not to forego your last month's rent in lieu of your security deposit. Not happening. So first of all, when the tenant gives notice, you should remind them out of the gate that do not attempt to not pay your last month rent and tell me to use your security deposit. That's a lease violation. So as soon as they give you notice that they're moving out, please remind them that they're not to use their last month's rent, please remind them that they are not allowed to use their security deposit for their last month's rent. The second thing is, if they decide to go down that route, you need to explain to them at that point what potentially could happen. Now, as a property owner, it's not a great solution, but at the end of the relationship, you have some limited means to do that is cost effective. So first thing you want to do is, again, remind them, hey, we didn't get your rent payment. I reminded you not to attempt to use your security deposit. That's a breach of your lease agreement. Okay. If they still continue to not pay, then you tell them, lay out the steps of what potentially could happen. So number one is, when you're late, we're going to charge you a late charge. So you're going to have to pay that. Number two, if you're still not paying past the late fee period, then we're going to post a notice to pay rent or quit on your house. And that's going to be another $75 charge, because we stipulate that in the lease agreement that the tenants agreed to. So after they do that, they've got those two charges already. Now, normally in the delinquency process, you would just say, okay, now they're still not paying. I'm going to go start an unlawful detainer action to get them evicted from the house. But listen, they're going to be out in probably 2 weeks at this point anyway. You're not going to go spend $1,500, $2,500 on an eviction. Instead, what you're going to say is, okay, listen, when you move out, not only are we going to collect those two fees we just charged, right? But then if you have a negative balance when we do your security deposit disposition reconciliation, you have a negative balance. If you don't pay that negative balance in a short period of time, then we're going to send you to the collection agency. Okay. And what's the collection agency going to do? Well, they're going to put a big mark right on their credit bureau that says collection account did not pay their rent in full. So if this tenant ever tries to go and rent another property or apply for credit any other way, it's going to impact their ability to do that. So nobody wants to do that, but you should lay this out for the tenant right up front to dissuade them from breaching their lease agreement and saying, I'm not going to pay the last month's rent. Again, not a great solution, and you won't get your money until down the road a little bit, but cost effectively, you're not really going to start an eviction action. It's just too expensive. But if you follow these steps and lay that out for the tenant, there's a good chance they'll see the error of their decision and end up paying their rent. I hope you found that helpful. If we can be of any assistance to you, please feel free to reach out at any time.